Hey everyone, it's Utsef. If you saw my first impressions video of the Keychron Q1, then you already know how impressed I was by this keyboard right out of the box. In today's video, I'll show you how I modded this board to make it sound better. Well, try to anyway. Let's just say that I ran into some problems. I'm gonna chalk those up to beginner's mistakes, so if you want to avoid my fate by learning from my misadventure in Stabilizer Land, then keep watching. My Q1 features an awesome red, white and blue colorway and a click-stop knob with a fantastic knurled texture that is a joy to use. I ordered mine factory assembled, in part because I was curious about the still new to me Gateron Phantom Silver switches. These are the fastest linears you can get directly from Keychron, as they require only 45 ± 15 grams of force to actuate with reduced pre-travel and total travel distance. Why is that good? Well, if you type primarily on laptop keyboards like I did, then they make for an easier transition into the mechanical world. Here is what they sound like stock. The downside of the factory assembled version is that there is zero flex in the board. The movement you see here is my desk's keyboard drawer. I double checked this on my dining table and saw similar results, so in addition to the sound related mods I wanted to see what I could do to reintroduce some flex back into the board. I would describe the Q1 as very beginner friendly. I removed the lower case to get a quick look at the case foam and found 2 layers instead of the single layer that I saw in the version 1 units of the bigger YouTubers here. Keychron also introduced silicone pads near the screw holes to mitigate the metallic ping between the 2 aluminum parts of the case assembly. As you can see very clearly in the top left of my unit, the parts still touched in places and a force break mod was therefore still necessary. Check out Scott King's video if you want to hear what this sounds like. The link is in the description. Next, I removed the keycap so that I could remove the PCB assembly. I got a chuckle out of the stamp at the top of the PCB, describing this as Keychron's first QMK keyboard with more to come. Nice to see them have a little fun with the imprint. I noticed that the foam gaskets at the PCB's bottom were incorrectly positioned. I don't know if this is a factory assembly issue or if this was caused by something I did inadvertently, but either way, I was able to correct it later on. With the switches and stabilizers removed, it was time for the mods. This board uses easy to install screw-in stabilizers instead of the glued-on plate mount stabs I encountered in the K6 a few weeks ago. Keychron, if you're watching, then on behalf of modders everywhere, please stop gluing in your stabilizers. I'm now getting hit up on Discord by others with this issue, and it does take the fun out of modding the otherwise excellent K6. Once I removed the stock stabilizers, there was quite a bit of excess lube on the PCB, so I cleaned that up with a dry paper towel. While the stock stabs looked to be of decent quality, I went with a color match set to go along with the dark green tangerine switches I had in mind for this build. I also had a set of stabilizer pads from KBD Fans. I figured these would make for a quicker band-aid mod than cutting up band-aids myself. Pay attention to these, because while I didn't know it yet, they would be the source of all my troubles later on. I then looped the stabilizer housings with some Krytox 205 GO, taking care to ensure an even coating of both sides and the bottom of the housing. Next, I inserted the stems, making sure that the stem side with 2 holes faced upward in the housing toward the part where the wires are clipped in. Then, I looped the wires with a generous amount of Permatex dielectric grease and used a brush to get an even coating just over the elbow of each wire end where it clips into the housing. Snapping the wires into the housing proved to be more difficult than I expected. Because of the lube, everything kept slipping out of place. I didn't have the same problems with the stock stabs in the K6, so my best guess is that the housing design of these C3 equal stabs is materially different. Eventually, I did get them all done. Time to test the stabilizers. I popped in the switches, grabbed the spacebar, and to my horror, it wouldn't come back up on its own. With Dread, I checked the remaining stabilizers and only the left shift key didn't exhibit this problem. What a pain. I thought that perhaps I'd overlooped the stabs, so I rinsed and repeated the process, but annoyingly, I had the same result. Thanks to this video by JTech Mods that I've linked in the description below, I realized that my problem stemmed from the set of stabilizer pads from KBD fans I'd installed earlier. I peeled those off, cleaned off the excess lube on the PCB with some isopropyl alcohol and a cotton bud, and then reinstalled the stabs for the third time. And hey presto, all was well with the world. After all that, I was happy to perform the force break and tape mods, reassemble the case, install the switches and keycaps, and check out the results. The Q1 is beginner friendly, but in hindsight I think a barebone kit is a better way to learn how to build and mod a keyboard. With a factory assembled one, you don't really know what you're getting until you take it apart, and you may be less inclined to replace what's already there, especially if you encounter issues like I did. It took a while for me to figure out what was going on with those stabilizers, which meant I ran out of time to experiment with different case and plateform materials to try and return some flex back to the board. The dark green tangerine switches sound awesome, and in my opinion, they don't require lubing or filming. Drop a comment down below and let me know what you think. I'm not sure that for prolonged use, I like the 67 grams of force they require. Coming from the 45 grams of the Phantom Silvers, that's quite a stark difference. I have a set of light greens that are rated for 62 grams, and I'm gonna try those out next. Perhaps they'll grow on me, but right now, I'm not loving the stark white of these Keychron keycaps. I had originally planned to use a set of GMK Nautilus keycaps, but as I missed out on the group buy and got scammed on Reddit, I may go back to the factory keycaps until I find a more pleasing set. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed this video, smash subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and turn on notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.